Hey, what's going on, y'all? Big Sergeant. Let me cut these comments on. Let me put these comments on right quick so I can see what y'all be saying sometimes. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Big Sergeant, host of the Sports Talk with Big Sergeant podcast. Woo! So as you all can see, the video that I put out earlier, today has been a very eventful day, and I'm not even done yet. I still got to go to work. Like the Rockets play the Detroit Pistons tonight, and we're going to get the wow factor back. Hey, look, make sure that whenever you use wow factor pertaining to Wall, Oladipo, and Wood, just give Big Sarge a shout out and be like, Sarge started that. Hey, that's Big Sarge. Just make sure you give him the credit. All right, y'all didn't come here to hear that. Let me start with this. Let me start by saying this, and I am taking questions. So I may stop in the middle of this and answer a question, but I am taking questions from you all as time permits before I have to hop on a Zoom call, the pregame press conference with Coach Silas from the Houston Rockets. Okay. First thing I just want to say this is that I hope by now, some of you all, I don't even care if it's just halfway. Halfway is better than being no way. I hope you all realize now that I am not a hot take guy. I hope you realize I'm not a clickbait guy. I hope you all realize that. I hope you all realize that I live by the motto that it is better to be right than to be first. Hold on. Yes, somebody asked. I do have 7 copies of the briefs that were handed out to us. Yes, I'm going to go through these things, and over the weekend, I'm going to come back because I'm going to highlight them and I'm going to detail them. Now, here's the thing, though. I have those already, or I had those before, but I didn't have them in paper form, so now I get to go through and look at them. All right, so once again, I want to make to let you all know that I hope this shows you that I am not a hot take guy. I'm not a clickbait guy. I have been knowing this for a very long time. Everything that they talked about in the briefings, everything, well, not everything. Let me take that back. I knew that this was coming down the pipeline a long time ago, and I just kept my mouth shut. But what I did tell you all, remember, is this. You are too famous to get yourself caught up in something like this. I tweeted that. I posted that on Facebook. I said back in December, if I'm not mistaken, you are too famous to be getting yourself caught up with something like this, and I left it like that. Now, I'm going to let you all into my world for just a second. Side note. I have to be cryptic when it comes to certain things because, one, I'm not going to burn any of my sources. I'm not going to reveal any of my sources. And if I am not going to put any of the sources that I have in any compromising position that will affect them. So I don't care about being first or breaking news on social media if it means putting the livelihood of the people I associate with in danger. I'm never going to do that. So if you were talking about, if you were thinking that it was that I'm going to be one of those guys that's going to just break the news to you and break the news, I'm never going to be that. Let me tell you all something. I pledged Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated at the age of 26 years old. We are a non-hazing organization. But let's just say my intake process was hard, and it was very hard, and it was very long, and I kept my mouth shut. Discretion. Some of you all need to look that up. Discretion. I use that to a T. So with that being said, I'm not here to tell you I told you so. I'm just here to tell you that, hey, sometimes listen to Big Sarge. Sometimes look at that cryptic tweet and be like, oh, something else is about to come. Something else is about to come. Just like I told you all. What did Tony Buzbee say today? Excuse me, let me not call him Tony because I don't know him personally. Okay? I can fix my hat. I need a new hat, y'all. Can somebody donate, cash out me some money so I give me a new hat? I know y'all tired of saying the same one. Listen, let me tell you this. I don't know Attorney Buzbee personally. So I'm just going to call him, for the most part, Attorney Buzbee. I'm not going to say Tony because I don't know him personally. But you all hear how many women that they have that have accused Deshaun Watson of what they're saying he's done as far as what civil sexual misconduct. And you heard him say something about they may go to HPD. I mean, they've been in contact with HPD, and there may be a criminal complaint coming here pretty soon. But what did I tell you all? When this thing first started out, I said, hold on, there's more. And then you all came back and you said, well, this mean? I said, hold on, it's more. And then you all came back with this meaning. I said, you still ain't close enough. And then it came back with more. And then it came back with more. And then now the count is at 22. But it's still more. There's still more to come. There are still females out there who have a story to tell that have not come forward. There's more. And like I said, on a personal note, I'm kind of disappointed in Deshaun Watson if these things turn out to be true, because I have talked to his family. I know where he comes from, his background. And if so, I am disappointed. If you go in and you look at those briefs, let me tell you what those briefs say. Those briefs say from this time to this time, this time frame to this time frame, Deshaun Watson was bored. According to these documents and according to the things that I've been told, Deshaun Watson was bored. And what happens when you get bored? You start looking for a new thrill. And I don't know this personally, so let me preface my statement by saying that if you are a person who's used to getting whatever you want, and if that whatever you want includes sex from women or sex from men, if you're used to doing that and you have the control and you have the power to be able to do that when you can't because you're locked in the house because of a pandemic, so you're not outside. Because as I'm listening to the brief today, I'm listening to the press conference and I'm reading some of the briefs, I'm saying to myself, has this always been something that he has been doing? But it's just been covered up because he was outside. And now that he wasn't able to get outside, it's all coming to a head now? Or does this young man really have a problem? Because there's multiple women that have gone on, that has gone on record with Attorney Buzbee, and it's out there now, but it's still more to come. Another thing he said Attorney Buzbee said in his press conference today is that there was another case that came forward even after Deshaun Watson, even after Deshaun Watson knew that there were allegations out there made towards him, even though he knew that there were sexual allegations, sexual misconduct allegations out there. And then another case popped up in the midst of him already knowing. So I'm listening, I'm like, if this is true, well, not if it's true about another case, but if it's true what he's being accused of, man, that young man has a problem. And he needs help. And I hope that he gets the help. But when he is accused of committing another act like that in the midst of it, but Attorney Buzbee said something that also caught my ear. He says that when they reached out to him and his representatives to talk about it, they pretty much blew him off and was like, hey, man, we are who we are. We're going to do what we're going to do. And kind of just like blew him off. And at that point, he says, well, they're not taking this thing seriously. So with that, I am going to make sure that it's taken care of seriously. He says he's vetted these women. Attorney Buzbee said he's vetted these women. And I'm going to put it like this. I'm going to tell you all the same thing that I said. Hold on for 1 second, y'all. Ooh, there we go. I'm going to tell you all the same thing I said after Texans first year head coach David Culley spoke a couple of weeks back. Remember what I said? Hey, this is on Deshaun now. Because the Texans have come out and they've said their side. They said how they feel about Deshaun. And if Deshaun doesn't say anything, now the only thing that we have to run with is what the Texans are saying. So now it's time for either Deshaun Watson or his representation to come out and say something. Because if not, we can only go by what the Texans like. Hey, look, here I am. This is how we feel. This is what I'm going to say. And if you never come back and rebut that, if you never come back and refute that, then guess what? We can only go by what we heard. So now I feel like the onus has switched over to Attorney Harding and Deshaun Watson and his representation to come out now that they've heard what Attorney Buzbee say. They got to come out and they got to say something, because if not, then it lingers in the air and we are left to draw our own conclusions. We are left to say and feel how we want to feel. You got to come out and say something now. You've got to say something, because if you don't, the longer you let this thing linger. And here's the thing. Back in the day, back in my day, when I was growing up and when I was in high school and even when I was out of high school, let's just put it like this, in the 90s, the 80s and the 90s, you can get away with something like this without having to say anything because wasn't no social media. But now that there's social media out there, it's too open for everybody to say what they want to say, draw their own conclusions. And now there is a medium to be able to say how you feel about a certain situation. So you get to put that out there. If a person thinks that Deshaun is guilty, they get to voice their opinion and put it out there. And public perception is everything now. Now it really is. Because if they think he's guilty, they put it out there. If they think he's innocent, they put it out there. But it's all on Al Gore's internet. And it goes up and down and up and down and up and down. So if you don't come out and defend yourself or have your attorney come out and defend you, you're going to leave yourself in a position where people can draw their own conclusions. Another thing, and I said this. Hold on, y'all. I am in the midst of doing something else, and I apologize. So I said this because there were people out there that came out and said that these women, if they were who they were, why would they advertise on social media? Why would they use social media to advertise their business if they're supposed to be professionals and things like that? And y'all do realize that social media is where people go to advertise now, right? That's where people go to advertise. People go to social media to advertise. So that's why I say, hey, don't discount what these young ladies are saying just because they're advertising through IG. Because people advertise through IG, people advertise. You missed a lot. Swan, you have missed a lot. But you can catch up because it's going to be posted out there. But you know, when they tried to discount these women's statement by saying, well, they was on IG, and don't get me wrong, hold on, side note, hold on. Because Big Sarge is a saved hypocrite. I'll tell you what a saved hypocrite is pretty soon. Because like I'm saved by the blood of Jesus, but I do a lot of hypocritical things. So I'm a saved hypocrite. But I guess, you know, when I go to church, I'm in like company. That's another story for another time. I'm not saying that women and men, see, this is the thing that gets left out. I'm not saying that women and men, because even on OnlyFans, men have OnlyFans and women have OnlyFans. So don't just, think that all IG models are women. But some of those people that advertise massages on there, they already know what they're trying to do. They already know what they're trying to get at. They already know what the end goal is. So I'm not saying that everybody that advertises that they're a masseuse on social media is, and I'm not saying that everybody is not. All I'm saying is, according to Attorney Buzbee and what he said today and the credentials that he has and what he's done to vet, these women are licensed professionals for the majority of them. He said these women are some of them are married, some of them are engaged, some of them are mothers. So he said that one woman said that after Deshaun forced himself on her and made her perform oral sex on him, that she defecated on herself. That disturbed me. That disturbed me to a T, because I'm saying to myself, what? let me say it like this too. And like I said, I don't know if Deshaun Watson is guilty or not guilty. So I always have to keep prefacing what I'm going to say with that so it won't get misconstrued. But I don't know if, as a father to 3 women and a grandfather to 2 granddaughters, how I would react if I got a phone call and one of them told me that a man forced them to perform oral sex on him, and I was so scared and shaken that I defecated on myself. I'm shaking so bad. She said that when the young lady was reading it, and it's in the briefing, and I'm gonna pull that out and I'll show it to you. But she said that after he left, that young lady was shaking violently, and her anxiety was up so high, and she defecated on herself. I don't know how I could react as a father, as a grandfather, as a husband of my late wife. I couldn't do it. And the details is what's making me say, the young man that I interacted with and seen week in and week out, I would never portray him. I would never think of him in that sort of way. And I think that's where the problem comes in. The problem comes in is because the public perception of Deshaun Watson is a person that we would never ever think would commit these acts. And then you hear it's 1, and then it's 4, and then it's 8, and then it's 12, and then it's 17, and now it's 22, and there's more to come. And we keep looking at it and we keep saying, how? This young man, I don't know if you all remember this or not. When Deshaun Watson first got here, when Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, he took his game check down to the cafeteria and gave the cafeteria workers the majority of his paycheck so that they could get themselves back on their feet. He gave game checks. He's been in the community, not only in Texas, but in Georgia and in New York and in California. Here's a man who has dedicated himself to community service because of the situation and how he grew up. But at the same time, you're saying to yourself, bro, is it something that we don't know? Is it something that we're not seeing? Because 22 plus with the same, they asked Attorney Buzbee, do any of these women know each other? He said, not from Adam. He didn't say that verbatim, but he said they didn't know each other for Adam. I got to get ready to get up out of here, y'all. We're going to talk a little bit more. So my thing is this too. Hey, did some of you all catch this? This was the funny part. When Attorney Buzbee dropped Quincy Avery's name. He said, personal quarterback coach Quincy Avery. Personal quarterbacks coach Quincy Avery referred one of the women to Deshaun. Now, here's the thing. This is where I say it gets petty. This is where I say it gets real petty. Because his name was the only name dropped. And then I go back and I start thinking about all the things that I've seen on social media where Quincy Avery has defended Deshaun. And I'm saying to myself, oh, so they trying to get him too before he even really gets started. So you're going to name drop his name in the middle of this, which is a smart tactic. And I was just like, wow. But Attorney Buzbee also said that one of the women was referred to Deshaun by someone from the Texans training staff. Now I'm asking myself, okay, so y'all remember when y'all kept asking these questions, why didn't Deshaun just go to the Texans training staff and set up a massage there and get a massage from the Texans training camp? Like, if one of these women was referred. Now, side note, because y'all know me, I keep it 100 and I'm transparent. I keep it 100. On the flip side, and some of you all are going to get mad, and some of you all are going to log off, and some of you all are going to unfollow me. I'm cool with that. Y'all know how I am. It doesn't matter to me. If I got 1 follower or 1 million, I'm going to be Big Sarge regardless. If you take a step back and look at it from the other side, see, this is where now I got to there's 3 phases to me. You're either going to get Brian, you're either going to get Big Sarge, or you're going to get BB. There's 3 phases. Brian is the one that has common sense. Brian is the one that will talk intelligently. Brian is the one that can be reasonable. Big Sarge, he a whole different person, but he ain't aggressive and aggravated like that, right? He is, but he ain't. You know what I mean? Big Sarge is one of those guys where, you know, he is, but he ain't. He's one of those guys just straight down the line. He just wants to, whether the truth falls on the right side or the left side, that's how he is. BB, see, that's that hood dude from Southwest Houston. Now, not hood as in out robbing and selling a bunch of drugs and breaking into people's cars and all that type of stuff. No, that's that street side of, you know, growing up on South Side off Scott and Luca, and then coming to the Southwest side, growing up and going to school on Southwest side, living out Gessner and Bissonnette and Farm Park and South Drive and Fondren and West Airport. That BB is the ignorant one that you never want to talk to. BB is that ignorant one that you just want to leave alone. So if I ever start commenting with BB, somebody be like, "Hey man, you need to talk." If you ever see me start putting BB hashtag BB at the end of something, somebody come check on me because I done flipped, and now I let my mental health issues get to me. So as I digress, right? And like I always like to say, hey, I'm 85% petty, 15% serious. It just depends on what day you catch me, what time is how I want to be. So here's where that other side kicks in. This is where BB kicks in. This is where the street dude from Southwest Houston kicks in. So Quincy Avery referred one. And then somebody from the Texans training staff referred one. And then some of these other women, I'm pretty sure was referred. The BB side of me says that could it be that there's maybe a pattern of behavior when it comes to the women as well? And Deshaun just thought that he was getting himself into a situation that they were used to doing? Like, I honestly and true, I'm not, like I told you all on the video, I'm not a lawyer. I've watched Law and Order SVU. Law and Order is my favorite. Matlock, Columbo, Beretta, Murder, She Wrote. And like I said, I never watched Criminal Intent because the main character is spooky to me. He's creepy. He's like Van with no windows creepy. It's another story for another time. I'm not a lawyer. But the common sense side in me and the street side said, well, wait a minute. Maybe out of the 22 that's come forward, it could be that 5 to 7 of them may have a history or a pattern of giving a happy ending, and maybe they just didn't want to give one to Deshaun. Like, you got to think about that. Let me tell you something. I went to a college where I've seen it happen, where a male or a female may have a one-night stand with the same sex or the opposite sex. I'm not here to judge. They may have a one-night stand with that person. So now that person, in their mind, thinks that, hey, this person got a reputation for having one-night stands. So then they go back and they share that information with somebody else. And then when that person tries to get with that person and that person doesn't give them the one-night stand that they gave the other person, now you're just like, well, wait a minute now. The only reason I was over here because they had a one-night stand. And I'm coming to get a one-night stand, but you want to open mouth kiss me. So all I'm saying that if we're putting everything out there, Like I would like to see what Attorney Harding is going to put out there from the opposite side to see what's going on. I want to see, there's two sides. There's three sides to every story. One side, the other side, and the truth. I want to just see. So all I have right now is what I have. So it could be that as well. It could be that it could come out that Deshaun has that he may have his own set of evidence that says, hey man, some of this stuff was consensual. Some of these things were consensual. I got to get ready to get up out of here, y'all. I'm gonna 2 to 3 quick things and I'm gonna go. One, where do the Texans go from here? What do the Texans do? What do the Texans do with all this information? Oh, hey, didn't I tell y'all the NFL is going to get involved? Oh, I thought I did tell y'all that. Anyway, now that they're involved, this thing is getting worse by the day. And there's still more. Another thing that Attorney Buzbee said today was, did y'all hear? This was the funny part. He says, I do live in River Oaks and I do live next to, or did live next to down the street from the McNairs. He's like, but I don't know how or Kyle, McNair, whatever he had. He's like, I wouldn't know that from a hole in the ground. He said, I'm not a Texan. He said, I'm not a Texans fan. He didn't say I was a Texan. He said, I'm not a Texans fan. So I don't know who he is. Now, I'm pretty sure that the crowd in which he runs in, and that's that upper 1% of the world, because he's filthy rich. I know he knows who Kyle McNair is. But he wasn't lying. He's not a Texans fan. So when you all hear, there's no way that the Texans didn't know about this. They may have caught wind of it. But they didn't fully know. They're finding out things on the fly. Some of them are finding out things on the fly, just like a lot of other people are. So I don't know where the Texans go from here. I hope that he squashed those conspiracy theorists today. And all I'm going to say is this. And I know that before I get off of here, I don't know how to put this. It's hard because you don't want to see these alleged victims. You don't want to see these young ladies pushed to the side because of a famous athlete, and you don't want them to not have their story heard. You do not want them to. You don't want to sideline them or quiet them or make them hush because they have accused a famous athlete of doing something. So on one hand, you got to be like, hey, look, man, we can't do this to these young ladies because, even though we don't know if they're telling the truth or not, because we're not privy to everything, we don't want to do that. The same token, here's a young African-American male who no matter what, he's got to take years to repair his image. And if you know anything about athletes and entertainers, especially when it comes to African-American males, the world ain't so forgiving when it comes to the African-American male. The world ain't that. HEB ain't gonna be that forgiving. Nike ain't gonna be that forgiving. This man's gonna have to go out and rededicate himself all over again if this is not true. If this is true, and you have the multiple women like that, I hate to see a young black man's life be ruined like that. But I told you all earlier, I keep it 100. I keep it 100, and and I'm transparent. There's still things right now that I'm 49 years old. There's still things that I've done when I was 22. 22. that I'm still trying to make amends for, not with God, but I'm trying to make amends for some of the things because some people only know me as Brian, the 22-year-old. They don't know me as Brian, the 49-year-old. So they're going to look at Deshaun as, what is he, 25? They're going to look at Deshaun, the 25-year-old, and it may take him until he's 38 for them to finally say, all right, man, we kind of believe you, or whatever the case may be. Or if these allegations are true, he'll never be able to obtain the type of success and job that he has now because it's going to be over. It's going to be over. There won't be a women's group out there that lets Deshaun show up to do a commercial at McDonald's. There won't be a women's group out there that would allow Deshaun to show up at Foot Locker to sign autographs for 30 minutes. If you don't believe me, ask Michael Vick. Big Sarge, y'all have a good day.